Well, if it's Wednesday, it must be this week in the E. And for this February 6, 2019, I'm Ron Juggett. That's not Dave Gardner. That's Dave Belisle. And I'm joined by Chief Cook, Bottle Washer, and Laundry Master Extraordinaire Dave Gardner. And our guest this week is Dave Belisle, an old veteran of the league. And so how you doing, gentlemen? Let's start with the commish.
Well, a pretty good day over here. As you can see, I got my 6-time Super Bowl champs hat. I want to thank Aces Games and More in Revere for getting me that hat. They're one of our sponsors. In fact, we want to see if you can use the hashtag Aces Boston. I'll be sending that out today when I promote the video here. So I want to thank Anthony over at Aces Games and More in Revere for getting me this hat. I was going to try to drive over myself, but I got really tied up the other day doing some things, so I never made it. So thanks to Steve Fabiano for picking this up. Really nice looking hat here. The one I wanted was the logo hat. It had the Patriots logo and the Rams logo. That was before the Super Bowl, I guess it was, before we knew who won. And they were sold out. So, but I got this one, and the other one's on back order. But thanks to Anthony Aces. So, yeah, let me just run down real quick. I mean, before we talk about the Super Bowl a little bit, I want to talk about our sponsors. So, obviously, Aces Games and More Revere. One Call Ventilation is another one of our sponsors. The East Boston Savings Bank. We had Dan Kelly on, I think it was last week, from the East Boston Savings Bank. The Local 103 IBEW. They are sponsoring the orange jerseys. Bates Insurance in Medford, Alpha Omega Hobby in Quincy, Everett Bank, and Paramount Wealth Strategies. And Dave Belisle, tell us about Paramount Wealth Strategies.
Hey, guys. It's good to be on. I know we've been talking about doing this for a while. So, but yeah, thanks again for having me on. Paramount Wealth, we believe there's a problem with how you purchase things and how you can actually build wealth and get the things you need during life at the same time. So we show people, especially the age group of between 35 and 50, how to build wealth and leverage their money instead of spending their money. In other words, how do you purchase a home? How do you leverage your money so it can still earn money, but at the same time you can get the things you need? By doing that, by implementing those kinds of strategies in a tax-free way, we're able to show people how to create wealth and almost ensure 7 to 8 figure income tax-free when it comes time to retire. So our strategies are out of the box. Our strategies are based on tax advantaged or tax-free situations, but also being able to leverage cash versus spending it throughout your entire lifetime. So that's kind of our philosophy. It's out of the box. We're not invest in the stock market, buy and hold situation. We're more, how do you use your money now the correct way to build wealth throughout your lifetime?
Is there a target age that you had, or is it open pretty much to everybody at this point?
Yeah, the target age is, for that aspect of our business, between 35 and 50 years old. And then from the 51 on to, say, the 67, then we talk about distribution strategies in retirement. So there's an accumulation phase of our business, but there's also a distribution phase of our business, which is segmented to 2 different, very specific demographics.
So how do we get a hold of you or Paramount Wealth Strategies? Best way?
www.paramountwealthstrategies.com is one way. You can go on to Facebook. We have a page on there. You can like it, take a look at it, join it, whatever you like, or reach out to me right through Facebook on Messenger. Our number is 888-615-0154. My personal extension is 101. So numerous ways to reach out to me, plus my email is david@paramountwealthstrategies.com.
And even if they see you at the rink, pull you aside and say, hey, Dave, can we set up a time to talk?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, what we do is very, very unique. But we've helped young people pay off student loans, buy their first home, finance the wedding, save for college, all in the way, leaving their money liquid all at the same time. So yeah, reach out and ask me any questions anytime is fine.
So for those of us who are kind of aging out of that 35 to 50 demo, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be old enough to be aging out of demos and becoming undesirable anymore, what would you suggest for someone on the close to wrong side of 50?
So after 50 years old, 51 to about 67 is our second demographic, which is distribution. Is that where you're in, the 51 to 67?
No, I'm not. No, I'm 47. But so
Okay.
if I would come to you and say, I'm 20 years to retirement or whatever, don't have the advantage of starting at 25 and 30. If you're starting, let's say for folks that were in their mid to late 40s and one was really seriously thinking about it, what would you, just in general terms, say?
Well, Well, Ron, 47 is still a great age. There's still a lot of ramp up time.
I think so.
Yeah, there absolutely is, for sure. And that's why we keep that demographic between that 35 and 50 range. So being close to the 50 range doesn't mean that you're out of contention at that point. It just means that you're still in a really, really good position to do something and start doing things a little bit differently to ensure that when that time comes, 66, 67, or whenever that daily grind stops for you, that you're prepared for that and you have the money and you're not speculating, you're not losing money in the market. And all those things are kind of written in stone at that point. So 47 is a great age.
I fully agree. When I turn 48 in November, 48 will be a great age. All right, let's talk some hockey. You were one of the originals in the league, and you took a long extended sabbatical, and now you're back. Let's first of all talk about, what are you happiest with now at the other end of your hockey career?
Well, I guess it would boil down to a couple things. I'm extremely happy that I decided to come back. It's I'm 50 in a few days.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I feel a lot better about things. I'm much more relaxed out there. Dave and I have a great relationship. I ref. It gives me something to occupy my time, and the camaraderie, being out there, and getting back to something that's something that has a competitive flair is really something that I still hold on to in my personal life and and everything else I do. So I really enjoy being back and playing.
Talk about the early days of the league? What you enjoyed then?
So in the early days, Dave and I we skated. I don't know how many leagues and how many things we went to, and God, we'd have a 11:30 game in Stoughton, and it's like God, we skated all over the place. So we were really into the ice, and the roller started to bloom at. Gosh, I don't know when we started the roller hockey, Dave, but it kind of went from somewhere to the cage, didn't it? I forget how it started.
I think we started in Danvers at a tennis court that didn't have any fence.
Yeah, that's right.
And we would chase the ball down the hill in the grass with our rollerblades. Yeah. So and if you missed the net, forget it. And there was the court. They had the court in Beverly, which was all fenced in. And nobody was ever there. I was like, "Hey, what do you think about going over to Beverly and playing in the court?" And we went there. I was like, it was like playing at the Boston Garden at that point, because the ball stayed in. There was fences, there was nets. It was like this was great.
You mean you all got tired of playing the wiffle ball thing? If you missed the pitch, you had to go chase it. I can't imagine why.
Yeah, a complete upgrade, right? And now thinking about where EMRHL is now and where it was. Back then. We actually all got together on a Saturday and built not the boards but the benches. They weren't that good, but we built benches anyways, right? We
they were yours.
It was fun. It was really competitive back then. I think I was a 25-year-old, I think, something like that at that point. We had a lot of tempers flare in that point, and I think that still probably happens, but for me, not anymore. I mean, I'm just trying to have a good time.
What made you come back?
A couple things. I've always wondered how Dave was doing with the league and that sort of thing, and if I could ever get back out there to play was always a question mark. And then I was at Kelly Ford in Beverly looking at a truck, and I saw Dave, who I haven't seen in years, at Kelly Ford buying a car. And he had his EMRHL 15-year anniversary. I said, "The league's 15 years old?" He's like, "No, this is an old one. It's 20 years." Like, holy moly. And then I just thought, hey, is there any spots? May I like to come out and try it? And I was petrified going back out there. It was 20 some odd years. And but that I got back then, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So it's just kind of a happenstance.
Yeah, we would bump into each other every now and then. But we bumped each other at the car dealership, and he says, "Let's get together and let's I'll get back." I said, "Okay." And so he goes, "I need some gear. Let's get together Friday so I can buy all new gear." And I'm thinking, "Yeah, okay, yeah, oh, sure." And I call him Friday. He's like, "You ready to go?" And we went down, and no kidding, he bought all new gear. I mean, everything but a stick. I think he bought skates and pants. And I was like, okay, he's serious. And he comes in and he jumped right in, and he's refereeing, and he's showing up at the rink Saturday morning at 6 o'clock before anybody's there, skating around. And yeah, he jumped right back in with 2 feet, Ron. And we got him in on Tuesday, so he's playing twice a week. I think he's reffing both days too. So yeah, he's right back into it, you know.
He's got a goal in the winter season already. He's had 2 since his return. He's got one for the Nordiques and playing for them, and he's got one for National Treasure the first 2 weeks of the year.
Yeah, it was, what did we say, 13 years between goals?
Yeah, 14, I think.
Roughly 13, 14, depending on when you scored that last goal for the Wookiees in the 2004-2005 season.
Wow, 2004.
That's funny. Yeah.
Not that I pulled that one off the top of my head. So what role do you play now? I mean, obviously, you know, none of us had the body that we did when we were 23. Well, maybe Dave, because he goes out there and plays, you know, 20 times a week or whatever. But you know, changes now in your game, Dave, or, you know, what do you look forward to most, or anything you'd like to share about, you know, what you've enjoyed most about coming back outside of the camaraderie, which honestly seems like the running theme for everyone that we interview.
Sure. Yeah. As far as my game goes, I'm still trying to find. I still have a lot of things to work on. You know, I got to slow my game down a little bit, but at the same time, just kind of be aware of what's going on as far as the play as it's developing and that sort of thing. I think I'm in better shape than I was back then. I mean, I don't hardly drink and work out a lot. And just kind of just grasping onto the lifestyle. It's not just the hockey piece. The hockey is a part of the whole thing. But yeah, this is I have a lot of work to do on my game. I practice at home. I practice as much as I can, and you know, I get some good feedback from the guys, and I get some shitty feedback from some guys too. But that's, I think, part of the whole league. You know, so there's a lot of coaches out there, and there's some guys that I listen to that I have a lot of respect for, and those are the guys that really make it. You know, hopefully helping me get my game better, and that's what I'm trying to do. Just get my game better, excel in that, and have fun.
Yeah, having fun's the big thing. Cause I know that when you jumped on the Nordiques. I think I was on that team, and I think we were one and done in the playoffs. We lost by a goal, but you know, we had a lot of fun. Me and you were out there as a defensive pair, and you know, we didn't light it up by any means, but it was a good time. Even when we lost the playoff game, that was a fun game to play in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
If someone around our age was to watch this and ask you, that would have lost the question. I haven't played since I was in high school or my early 20s. I might have played some intramurals in college. What should you expect? If you haven't played for a while, how long did it take for you to feel comfortable? You talked about it, getting good and bad advice from other coaches and players. I mean, what would be your recruit pitch to someone who might be off the fence, who hasn't played in a generation, to come back and do this?
That's a good question. I would say if you want to have fun and stop worrying about getting to the NHL, you know, it's not going to happen for anybody down there. Just go out there, have a good time. You know, I understand being passionate and all this stuff, and some guys are more, well, maybe the younger guys can be more passionate sometimes, but you know, that's not to be stereotypical. I would say don't worry about it. Well, you're not gonna do well at the beginning. It's just, you're just going to be rusty as hell, and but that starts to go away. I'm still shaking the rust off, and I'll go through my first half of my first season. So you know, whatever. I don't really care if I'm trying my best for my team. That's all I can do, and that's all anybody can expect of anybody coming back.
As long as you can skate somewhat. We play in such a small rink that most people contribute somehow, some way, whether it's blocking a shot or giving somebody a pass. You know, I don't skate well, so I'll get the ball and I'll find one of my young fast guys and I'll try to give them a nice pass off the boards or whatever. But as long as you can get around, we've had a handful of guys that come up and can't skate a lick, and we give them a couple of games, and it's just like, you know, this is not going to be much fun for you or anybody else. But a lot of guys that come up, like you say, they haven't played in a long time, you could see that they can skate. It's just It's shaking off the rust. It's getting their body used to moving again. But you can usually tell the guys that are going to be fine and the guys that are not going to be fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a good one. Well, it's time to go through some scores. This may not be Dave Belisle's favorite part of the program, but started because it hadn't been the most successful, productive on the win column yet. But let's start with Saturday's games. They were 6, and Nicolas Cage, I hope he's getting royalties off of this. Speaking of older guys, we start with the 7 a.m. game. Face-off down, gone in 60 seconds, 8-3. But Eric Haas, who's 53, is that right?
He's older than me, and I'm going to be 52. So, yeah.
Well, anyway, continues to lead the league in scoring as he helped face off to an 8-3 win over a late-arriving gone in 60 team. Mike Caggiano went penalty-free for the first time this season, and goalie Stephen Mills, the first guest ever on the show, made some saves he usually doesn't make, most of them on CJ. And again, the algorithm just does not like you people.
No, it's all computer generated.
All computer generated. The 8 a.m. game, Raising Arizona kicked ass of kick-ass 10-6. With almost a full squad of regulars, Raising Arizona piled up 10 goals on poor goalie Mark Parkinson. Tim Hill had 3 goals, and Eric Benoit had 4 assists for the winners. Greg Ventura went mistake-free for most of the first period, and Fab would have had a half dozen goals if his stick wasn't being constantly held. Ooh.
Obviously, the officials missed several calls.
I'm just dying to know how the algorithm knows all this. At 9 a.m., leaving Las Vegas left Arsenal behind 6-4. Goalie Ryan Hayes played just well enough, facing 49 shots. My goodness.
Ryan played very, very well in that game. He rebounding from a poor performance in week 1. He rebounded and it was like a power play the entire game, and he just stood in there like Ron Tugnut.
I was going to just say that. Holy Ron Tugnut. And he picked up a 6-4 win. I don't think Tugnut won that game when the Bruins got him with 70,000 shots.
They tied, I believe.
Was it a tie?
Yep.
Goalie Corey Snyder did his best just to stay away at the other end. Chris Cusick led the way with 4 goals, so he's probably done scoring for the season. Ouch. Ouch. Some people might want dinner someplace. Figure out where that should be and help contribute to that cause. Make the algorithm happy.
Obviously, he did not get me a gift certificate or a coffee or anything. So.
Apparently not. Sean Hudson looked rusty for Arsenal in his first game this season. Ghost Rider at 10 o'clock beat Snake Eyes 9-5. I really wish they would lose 2-1 just so you could say they rolled Snake Eyes. Ghost Riders got 3 assists from Big Country Kevin McGovern as he subbed in as a downgrade. Caps on the best team in the league. Well, Rob Richards chipped in with 3 goals. Al Panico doubled the scoring total of the last 9 seasons by scoring a goal. I think algorithm needs more sleep at night, personally. And Dave Kruger is now winless as a sub this season. Don't listen to this one, Mr. Belisle. Rumblefish at 11 beat National Treasure 8-7. Mike Mason's game-tying shot sailed over the crossbar in the dying seconds in an effort that would have made Glenn Wesley proud. National Treasure drops another close one. Rumblefish got a huge, that's his emphasis, goalie upgrade when Bullock supplied the team with the goalie, forcing DePreto to skate out, and then Bullock went on to score 2 beauties, including the game winner.
Yeah, Bullock brought up his friend who had skated with us before, and he says, hey, you mind if I play net? And so he jumped in net, and he was fantastic. And, the pass went out front to Mason, and he went on, I think he went on the backhand with about 15 seconds left, and his shot went over the crossbar, and that would have tied the game.
The last game on Saturday, the Rock beat Fast Times at Richmond High 6-5. It was not the first time Courtney Brown took balls to the face. But this week it was enough to tire him out as Fast Times picks up their first loss of the season.
Yeah, I guess he blocked the shot. I went downstairs. Ron, there's a running joke that's absolutely true, is that every time we play upstairs at the rink, every time I run downstairs, whether it's to go to the bathroom or go to the office, conduct business, or go to my truck for something happens. I am upstairs the entire day. Soon as I go downstairs, I come upstairs and Courtney's sitting there like this and he's bleeding. I'm just like, I went downstairs I just went to the bathroom real quick and I come right back up. I was gone 95 seconds and something happens, and so he's all, oh yeah, somebody took a shot in my face or whatever. So whatever. I think he finished the game. I think he gutted it out. He's a tough guy, that guy. So yeah, he finished the game.
There are so many jokes I cannot say. Hunter Graves and Matt Mahoney combined for all the rot goals, while Nick Rao and Dan Kelly did what they could not to fall down as much as they normally do. I'm sorry, Dan and Nick. I'm not going to defend you because you've been outplayed even in that write-up. All right, Dave Belisle, what's your take on your tight 8-7 loss to the Rumblefish? What have you seen improvement from your team the last couple of weeks or any of that?
Rumblefish which one's that one, Dave? Saturday or Tuesday?
Saturday loss.
Saturday.
That's our Saturday. So we're playing at 10 a.m. this week. We're getting close. We, I think we got to stay at home. I think we got to stay in the box and make sure that our forwards come down and cover the attacking points for the other team. And we did that really well last week. Everybody skated pretty hard, and I think we're chasing the first few weeks coming out of the gate, and now we're really starting to stay into a more of a positional game that we really need to do that, and just get the ball in deep, depending on what the goalie, what goalie is we're facing at that time. So I think we're close. I hope we're close. We're really close last week. I mean, I think the timekeeper with 0.4 seconds could have stopped the clock with 0.1, and we could have come back and tied the game. But but we're getting there. So I think we're coming into this one with hope that we're going to pull a W out.
Yeah, you got a lot of close losses,
Yeah,
and so you look at your schedule there and you're like, geez, you could be completely opposite, in the record,
Yeah, for sure. So we're hopeful.
So anything else to say to the master of the Tide Pods and his timekeeping?
Let me just go ahead.
Well, last night we had a good one, huh? Last night we got a high stick call that was that was touched up by the team to stop the clock, and then it was kind of a little bit of we had some time left. We had a second half. We had 0.8. We had this. We could have tied it. Yada yada yada. But something. It was the right call. They didn't touch it with any time left on the clock, or very very little. Not even have to drop the ball. So
a buzzer beater. We'll talk about that one second. Let me just share the real quick here the Saturday leaders. And once again, Eric Cause up there. He's one of, I think there's 3 guys older than me in the league right now, and he's one of them. And he's got 9 points. I think he had 6 last week, and now he has 9. He's tied with Greg Good, and new guy Johnny Dalba right there with 8, alongside of Kevin Halpin and Teddy Davenport. And then you see Chris Kuzak there. He had the 4-goal, a 4-point performance. So we expect Kuzak to drop right off this list. Down to the bottom somewhere. New guy, Mark Scribner. A lot of new guys here on the list here. Dalba, Halpin, and Scribner are all somewhat new guys. So good job on those guys on the Saturday leaderboard.
All right. We want to go right to Tuesday? Let's go right to Tuesday. So 4 games last night. And again, attendance, I guess, is somewhat of an issue. We'll let the commission talk about that first. Now, which team, Dave Belisle, are you on? Oh, Lords of Flatbush, right?
Lords of Flatbush, yeah.
All right, so you're the second one on the list. The opener was Cliffhanger or Stop My Mom Will Shoot, and it was actually a cliffhanger, a 6-5 overtime win for them. Middle of the pack teams opened week 5, and goalie Jay Sopp needed to make not 1 but 2 breakaway saves late in the game to force overtime. In bonus time, Anthony Milne slipped one short side to Phil and goalie Stephen Mills. No, not my buddy. To get Cliffhanger the win. Stop continues to struggle without their leaders, Dennis Pertacci. Is he due back soon, Dave?
I think he said the 26th, so it's still a couple weeks away.
3 weeks.
I think he said 2 more weeks, yeah.
All right, let's see what the AI wrote about the Lords of the Flatbush last night. They lost to Tango and Cash 6-5. The Lords may be winless, but they only lost by the goal to the first. By a goal. It helps to read these ahead of time, Ron. To the first place undefeated Tango and Cash team. So there's parity in the league despite an 0-5 start. Ouch.
Oh, yeah, that hurts.
Ouch.
But there is though. I mean, you guys, you're 0-5, right? You lost last week on a last-second shot. And then this week, a minute 46 to go, the other team scores. You lost by a goal again. So I mean, you're not losing 13-2.
They must be getting into Robbie's head, man.
Mark Meats had 4 of the 6 goals for Tango and Cash, including the game winner with 1:46 left. Adam Hughes and Andrew Conlon combined for the 5 Lord goals. Nothing for Brian Estrella. So, Dave Bilal, talk about that game.
Well, that was we were getting a sniff of maybe a W with that one. We started out, we had a two goal lead going into the third. We didn't play a very good second. We let them back in the game, and again, playing well. I think we had a 4-man, we had a 2-2 front for the forwards, and we had 3 on D. So we were rotating pretty well. It's just, it's that last thing. I think we're a little bit tired with that last few minutes of the game. They were really pressing. They really started pressing. They got a lot of speed up front. So it just overcame us at the end, unfortunately. But we're almost there. We're almost there. It was another heartbreaker, but we're getting used to those.
The 8:30 game was technically the blowout of the night. Rambo beat Expendables 8-5 as John Grenier got his only point of the night when he scored an empty net for a 3-goal win over the lowly Expendables. And someone owes Dave a lot of coffee. I mean, the AI, a lot of coffee after this next sentence. If defense wins championships, and it's going to be a very tough for the very offensive-minded Rainbow team, the Expendables have no chance, so they don't need to worry. Ouch.
The computer comes up with these things, this program that I got. It is what it is.
The computer needs to watch more comedy, I think. The last game of the night, Rocky beat Over the Top 4-3. Rocky was built around an aging goalie with hopes of winning low-scoring games. Well, that's what happened here, as the few Rocky players that showed up won 4-3. No sarcasm in the algorithm this week at all. Somehow, with only half of each team showing up, we didn't have one sub goal. Mark Dockerlin had 3 goals for Over the Top. Did Mullen or Bertocci show up? Well, it is a Boston-based computer, so sarcasm is going to be featured. And this week's scapegoat is given to Rambo utility player Greg Ventura. Greg had a nice goal too. He snapped one in short side off the goalie's skate. It's just too bad it was his own goalie and his own net.
It was a beauty, though.
That was a nice goal. Yeah, that was a nice goal.
Yep.
I was reffing that game. People were asking me, who shot that? I think your old guy. Happened so fast.
Yeah, just finishing out that 9:30 game, Mark Dockley had the hat trick. He's a defenseman, so the defenseman had all the goals for Over the Top. He had a chance for a 4th goal with two seconds left, and the goalie AK, who played really well last night, stopped him on it would have been his 4th goal. It would have tied the game late. So it was a great game for Mark, but AK come up with that big save at the end.
It sounds like it was a fun night.
Oh yeah, all the games were close. I mean, just that one game, the 8-5 was technically our blowout, and even that had an open net goal. So yeah, the standings are tight. Even the Tango and Cash, they're undefeated, but they're 3-0-2. They have 2 ties. They started the season with 2 ties, and then they won 3 in a row. And it's just Dave's team at the bottom at 0-5. But again, their last 2 games are they've lost by a goal.
It happens.
Yep. So the parity's been good. We had a long, tough draft on Tuesday. I come out of there with a headache, but all in all, I mean, the teams seem pretty even, at least to this point. I think on any night anybody could win.
Right, and you're 5 weeks in. It was a 16-week season.
14 weeks in playoffs. Yeah, so we're almost at the halfway point.
So anything could still happen.
Yep.
All right. So you wanted to address line changes. What happened that makes you want to
just want to clarify that real quick, because we have a small rink and there's only one door on the bench, so everyone's coming and going out of the same door, and it's actually a raised door, so you got to step up. So we're really lenient with the line changes, and as far as calling too many men. So how it works is the door opens, the player is allowed to come onto the court before the other guy gets off. We allow that to keep the game flowing the whole bit. As long as the guy going off continues to go off, we allow, so technically it would be too many men. We allow that as long as the guy going off continues off. Now, again, if he's 30 feet from the bench, we had a play last night where a guy was about 25, 30 feet from the bench. He's like, hey, go. And the guy opened the door, and I kind of says, if this guy goes, he's going to break up a 2-on-1, and that's a 30-foot swing. I'm not going to allow that. That would be too many men. But the guy waited till the guy got within 5 feet of the bench and then jumped out, and the guy continued off. So in that scenario, Ron, if the guy comes on, he can even play the ball as long as the other guy continues off. So the onus is on the player retiring from the play, so to speak. Okay, so if I'm on the court and I go, Dave, come out, and Dave jumps out, I need to continue off and get off the court. If the ball hits me or if a player runs into me, it's still not too many men unless I initiate that contact. Okay, so there's been times
you can't deliver a check if you're the extra guy on the ice. You can't deliver a check.
You can't. Yeah, you can't. Basically, you can't be involved in the play. Now, if the ball hits you or something like that, that's fine. But if I'm going to, we've had that many times where the guy comes out and the other guy going to the bench and he's lifting up his skate because it's a raised bench. He's lifting up his skate to get in there, and the ball will come down the boards and hit his skate. That's not too many men. The difference would being if he saw the ball coming and he purposely stood there and blocked it, or he stuck out his leg, or he touched it with his stick, any involvement on his part in the play willingly would constitute the too many men call.
Is there a mark on the court where you can stand in this, like in this space and be safe type thing?
At the bench there's no marks, but if you're at the bench, you're safe, you know, and most guys are pretty aware of that, but there's still some guys that every time the ball hits them, it's like too many men. It's like the ball can hit him. Even a player can hit him as long as he's at the boards trying to get off and not actively in the play, or I should say a willing participant in the play.
You know, can't take a shot, can't make a check, can't trip a player, whatever.
No,
he's passive. He's part of the floor.
Yeah, once the guy comes on, the player going to the bench, he needs to make a 100% effort to get there. You know, and there's been times where I've been sitting there, the ball is coming down the boards at me, and I will actually like back up and let the ball go so I'm not in the play, and then I continue off the bench. So most players are pretty good about that. Most people do not want to get that call. But again, if you were to purposely do something, then that would be 5 guys on the court. Or if you were considerably far away from the bench and that gets your team an advantage, you know, offensively or defensively, then that would be too much of a stretch.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. And it's a judgment call for everybody, but you know, as long as it's not completely blatant, you know, you guys, it sounds like it needs to be understandable that it can't be just I'm on and you're off type deal.
Yeah. All
right. Because we're running a little bit long anyway, what's your thoughts on the Super Bowl?
As we've talked before, me and you, Ron, being having my heart broke so many times in the 70s and 80s as a kid, because, you know, it wasn't until the early 2000s that we started winning up here. And the last 18 years have been ridiculous. But I've had my heart stomped on so many times that I watch from a distance. I usually do something to keep myself distracted. And I was checking on my phone all night. And when it was all over, I watched, even when they lost last year, I watched the recap. But I have a hard time watching live and getting into it anymore. So I'm glad they won, and I'm excited they won. But yeah, I don't sit there at the edge of my TV anymore. Like the first 3 times they won the Super Bowl back in the early 2000s, I was there rooting it on. But now sometimes I just fall asleep. I'm so old. I don't even make it through the whole game.
Dave, what was your thoughts?
Well, I get the same kind of anxiety, but I kind of numb it with vodka. So I'll watch the game. I love to watch it. I'll watch the replay. I'll like tape it and watch it again. That Kansas City game was incredible, and I was still getting a little nervous even watching the replay of the game as we're going through the fourth quarter. But yeah, I think the game of the year, obviously for me, was the Kansas City game. The Super Bowl was okay. It was just kind of a snooze fest.
Well, I remember, Dave, back in the day in the I don't know, it was late 70s, early 80s that, you know, we'd be hanging out as kids, you know, at my dad's house watching the game, and the Patriots would lose. And I remember they would show the replay of the drop pass. Like the guy had the touchdown catch that would have won the game from some Steve Grogan to somebody. And the guy would drop it. The Patriots would lose. And I remember sitting there. They would show the replay. I remember my old man saying, well, maybe he'll catch it on the replay.
Yeah.
So that's what we went through as kids. Just, you know, And I don't know how many times, you know, you'd sit there in the 80s, and I remember like picking up the paper. We had this thing called newspaper. It was actually printed on paper like this, and it came to your house, and you would read it. Okay, it was this thing called the newspaper, and they would have. I remember every Christmas, the sports section would have the wish list for the Patriots, and it was like, we need a Patriots win, a Dolphins loss, the Bills bus needs to break down on the way to the game, and the Jets need a forfeit, and we'll get in the playoffs. I mean, it was ridiculous what we needed to happen the last couple of weeks of the season to get in the playoffs. So all this winning is something that I'm not used to. I'm still not used to it. I'm still not conditioned to it.
There was good jokes about the 4-month-old now not having to go through the pressure of never seeing a Boston team win a championship.
Yeah, it is funny. What I get a kick out of too is when you get some of the out of town people and they're like, "Oh, well, my team's better." And I saw the meme one time. It said New York Jets Super Bowl highlights, and it was like 8mm reel.
I get that. You know, up here, UVM for University of Vermont football, undefeated since 1975 or 1974. That was their last loss. It was also their last game, but that was their last loss. You know, as a Giants fan, if Tom wants to visit 2 of his missing trophies, he can just shoot down 95, and they're safe in East Rutherford. But
yeah, they can't beat the Giants. They beat the Eagles once and lost to the Eagles once.
That's a great run. I mean, you know, as someone who's not a huge football fan anymore, you just got to take your hat off to him. I don't care if it's old for the people who don't like the Patriots. I mean, Tom Brady has played in every conference championship game in this decade.
Yeah, and it's what's really over. There's a lot of Patriots hate. There really is. And, you know, and I had that Pittsburgh Steeler hate back in the 70s when Bradshaw was winning all those Super Bowls. And I was like, oh, I'm sick of the Steelers. I hate the Steelers, you know? So I get that. But it is, I think after this one here, I don't know what it was about this Super Bowl. I think it was the biggest parade that they had here, and they've had 6 Super Bowl parades. Yesterday, well, it was 60 degrees in Boston in February, which is ridiculous. So I think they said they had 1.5 million people. And I think that, you know, I even got some friends of mine that are out of New England, you know, they're in the hate zone, okay, which is everything out of New England. And a couple of people saying, look, you know, you got to give it up for what's going on. We'll never see this again. We'll never see a Brady Belichick, like him or not. You know, this is like the Celtic runs with Bill Russell and the Montreal Canadian runs when they were winning Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup. That, you know, if you look back, you know, in basketball, that's never happened again. In hockey, that's never happened again. And, you know, so you get this situation here with Brady Belichick, and, you know, wow. I mean, you know, this will never happen again. And we're here being a part of that and probably kind of taking it for granted around here. We really do, you know?
Think so.
You know, I before we go here, my favorite Patriots story, it was before the Brady days. I want to say it was the early 90s. Remember when they went 1-15 or 2-14? You remember that season?
Yeah.
The Patriots are absolutely terrible. And I think, I don't know who was the coach, or Rod Rust might have been the coach or something like that. That's how far back it goes. But there was a story about, it was the last game of the season, and the Patriots are playing at home, and they were 1-13 or whatever. And some guy, remember, he called the radio station up and says, you know, he goes, I went into the mall and I took my 2 tickets I had for the Patriots game. It was a Saturday afternoon. He goes, I took my 2 tickets and I put them on my windshield wiper in my car, and I went into the mall because he goes, I wasn't going to the game. I figured somebody could use them. And he comes out of the mall, and what do you think he saw?
The tickets.
He saw 2 more tickets. True story.
I was in college, of course, at that point, and there was a few people from Southern New England who were diehard Patriots fans, and we wondered what had gotten into them. And they played the Colts late that year. I think they had the same record, and they lost on a field goal, or the Patriots did something Patriots would do. They botched the game, essentially. And the fan trashed our dorm suite or dorm main lounge because of it. It wasn't like it was 8-8 and they were fighting for a playoff spot. And it was, I mean, they had lost a winnable game, and he turned over trash cans and beat up couches. And I had to go to his his dorm removal meeting because that was he had reached the max of times he was written up, and that was it. But yeah,
Crazy stuff.
crazy stuff. You want to talk about merchandise real quick?
Yeah, before we go on. So we have the 15th logo here on our sweatshirts. We're going to be putting the 20th. I'll be putting something up on our Facebook group and probably our webpage and Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Want to get an idea what people are looking for. Last time, these hooded sweatshirts went over big. T-shirts, hats, and I think regular sweatshirts is what we're looking to do. So if there's anything else you're interested in, let us know. But we're going to start taking a poll. I want to start getting an idea on numbers because I'm pricing this stuff out right now. And of course, the first thing they said is how many. So I says, well, I know we did over 100 T-shirts and probably did 40 or 50 hoodies and hats. So I'm going to start throwing that out for the 20th. So be looking for that post on Facebook and on our webpage. And so just want an idea what people will be looking at so I can get a ballpark on numbers.
Quick question, Dave. What's the what do you think the ETA is for the new shirts?
They told me 4 to 6 weeks. I heard it was closer to 6. That order went in, I want to say 2 weeks ago. So I'm hoping at the end of this month, end of February, that I'm going to get a huge monster package with $7,000 worth of jerseys in it.
Wow, perfect.
You know, again, if we get into early March, I'm going to start making some phone calls, but 6 weeks is the end of this month. And yeah, I'll be excited because Tuesday everybody will have home and away, and then Saturday we'll have 9 new sets of jerseys to work with as well. So, in fact, I should mention our new sponsor, Ernie Paredes, who's I think he's a couple years older than me. He's firing up a new hockey service. It's Ernie's Tailoring, E11 Tailoring. I will post that logo and that website up on the webpage. He actually makes his own jerseys and makes pants. Now, obviously, we have jerseys, but he was fixing my old one. So he could actually make you inline pants if you wanted to. And I think he also fixes equipment. So if you got a glove or something like that that needs some repairs, talk to Ernie. But Ernie's going to be one of our new sponsors. And he's actually buying a set of Boston College colors. So it's the maroon and the gold. He's going to have home and away maroon and gold. So we'll be ordering that shortly. So that'll give us another set in 6 more weeks.
Dave, plug your thing again, Dave.
Oh, this Dave, me?
Yes.
Paramount Wealth Strategies. Again, out of the box, unique style of building wealth through leverage. Not to buy and hold, typical invest in the market, 401k. We don't do that stuff. We show you how to purchase. We show you how to make major capital purchases and leverage your money versus spending your money.
And you can be found.
We can be found at www.paramountwealthstrategies.com. We're on Facebook. You can access our Facebook page at the same name, and you can email me anytime at david@paramountwealthstrategies.com.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, that will do for another edition of This Week on the E. We'll be back with you on the day before Valentine's Day. Don't forget, you got 7 more shopping days for Valentine's Day, or, someone will deliver to offices, of course, on Valentine's Day itself. So thanks for Dave Bilal for being with us. For Dave Gardner, the chief cook, bottle washer, and laundry master of the Eastern Massachusetts Roller Hockey League, I'm Ron Juckett. We'll talk to you next Wednesday at noon.
Bye, guys.